Dearest gentle listeners, you are watching the Ladies Bridgerton, the talk of the town. We are your effervescent hosts, your neighborhood-friendly Kiwi, Tash from Middle-earth, New Zealand.
And Patty, Regency romance enthusiast, currently writing her high vibe and loved era.
Which is rather fitting because today we are jumping on over to YouTube because MSMojo has just released her list 2 days ago of the 30 top Bridgerton romantic moments. I say romantic very loosely because
I agree.
some of these are
And
not
first of all,
necessarily what I'd call romantic.
yeah, I'm gonna say I love Watch Mojo, MSMojo. I follow and subscribe to just about all of them, and I will post the link to this video when I upload the video to YouTube. I will post the link to this particular list, and if you watch Mojo or MSMojo at all on YouTube, they love Bridgerton actually. Like they do
really?
a lot. They do a lot of Bridgerton lists.
So
I found
something...
them because of they love Broadway and they do a lot of Broadway lists. Since we are now on YouTube, I decided we were going to respond with our own YouTube video.
What we're going to do today is we are going to, firstly, we have each, without telling the other what, we are going to change our virtual backgrounds to our favorite moment, our favorite romantic
our
moment.
Favorite romantic moment, yeah.
Of the entire series.
My favorite romantic scene in all of Bridgerton is when the honest to God first man in all of Bridgerton gives the female lead the choice. It appears that Simon gave Daphne a choice, but they were not actually courting at the time. It was fake. It was all for show. So she felt comfortable in saying, this is my life and I need to take control of it. Yes. So in the end, when they had their kiss, they got caught, the duel happened, and she told him, like, you need to marry me. He was like, ixnay with a hell no, because he couldn't give her what she wanted. So he didn't give her the choice, really. He ended up choosing to do that for her, but she had to fight him on it. And then Kate and Anthony, kind of the same thing. Like, we did this. You need to marry me. And then in the end, when she said no, she still said no. And in the last episode, like, he asks her again, but that still to me is like, he comes off as like, I have to have you. So still not the choice. But here is King George, her brother, who basically sold her to the crown for an alliance with the country, is standing there trying to find her, knowing she's probably escaped, and is going to make her go back in.
Well, not just that. He is speaking for her. She is excited to marry you. She is wanting to do this. And he says, no, actually.
No.
And at no point was he like, she is undecided and you must make her. At no point is he like, she's undecided, but what kind of fool wouldn't marry me? He is humble. He allows her to make her choice because he wants her to, and especially knowing what he knows about his own mental health, he's like, I need her to choose me. Any part of me, just something about me. I need her to choose me. Even for a moment.
He needed her to choose him as a man before she found out everything. So that was a very vulnerable moment for him. But I also think that is the moment she fell in love with him, because he's the first man in her life that ever allowed her choice to matter.
I didn't choose from Queen Charlotte because I felt like Queen Charlotte is kind of a thing on its own. And
I knew you were going to say that.
I don't get me wrong though. Like, I understand your choice. I absolutely.
It's the Bridgerton universe.
It's because you probably saw it in my notes where I said that for this particular part, MSMojo. But I love it. I just think it's cheating because it's not actually in the Bridgerton 3 seasons.
It's not cheating.
It's cheating adjacent. You can't compete with George and Charlotte. That's not a fair comparison. That love story was off the wall. Not comparable.
Do you know what my second choice would be? And nobody would, I mean, it is a pollen thing, but nobody would understand it or get it. My second most romantic scene. No. No. My second
Okay.
most romantic scene is the scene in the wedding breakfast room where they're obviously in an argument. She knows Colin is mad and she's letting him be mad. And
Mm-hmm.
she knows, like, I'm going to love him through this. Like, we're doing this. He's choosing me. Like, she asks him,
Mm-hmm.
are you calling off the wedding? And he's like, no, we're going to get through this wedding. And she's like, okay, then if you chose me, if you're giving me this thing I want, which he doesn't really know she wants it at the time, right? He
Mm-hmm.
thinks she's trying to save her family to
Yeah.
aligning with the Bridgertons. He feels Marinaed. Was like, you can be mad. I love you, mad. I love you in your madness. It's okay. That is my pollen. And for Bridgerverse, Bridgerton only, that is my most romantic moment because she loved him at his most
All right.
worst moment.
You've got two. Now it's my turn to talk about my one. I love this moment because it's kind of a little bit for me like the nostalgia of the first Harry Potter movie. It's not necessarily that it's the best, but it's the best in the way. And I think this is why a lot of people love it so much, is because it's familiar. It's what we went back to first. It's what made us fall in love with the series as a whole. We got this first. For a lot of people, it introduced them to the books and it became a whole universe. There is a difference between a book that is just a standalone book and
Mm-hmm.
world building. And Bridgerton has world built. And this scene right here, these two, that connection that I think is very rarely seen. Like we have good enough connection in a lot of Hollywood, but a connection like this is what made people go insane because this entire scene just lined up so perfectly. They are outdoors. It has this kind of eerie mystical element. They have these pyrotechnics that are just so out of the realm. Like back then, they would have considered that to be like magic, and it was so beautiful. And the music lined up perfectly, and it just felt like a perfect moment.
Well,
And both of them thought that they were faking, but the faking thing is that they weren't actually faking. They were both falling in love in that moment. The way that they were looking at each other, yes, he is
yeah.
orchestrating it, but not 1 inch of that was orchestrated. It was
Yeah.
authentic feeling. You can't fake that. And
And
even between the
they were
actor
not
and actress.
understanding. They were not understanding it was authentic because they were calling it fake, which I love this dance for that also, this ball, because the pyrotechnics and the lights were synthetic light, right? That it's the first
Yes.
like gas lantern kind of things, and the
Yeah.
pyrotechnics, it's all illusion. And they're
Yes.
creating an illusion. And so
But it
the
was beautiful
theming,
nonetheless.
yes, the theming of the ball went into like brought you into the story. Like this told so much visual story
Yeah.
without the scripting that yes, I believe that is, and it's on the list. It's on the Mojo list.
Well, yeah, it is.
But George giving her a choice,
Yeah.
they did put a scene from Queen Charlotte on the list,
Well,
but
you
it
know
was not a
what?
romantic scene.
The funny thing is the scenes that they did include, they then, when they talk about each scene, like each specific scene, they then include other scenes that led up to it, or the parts that they included that led up to that one moment were the parts that I would consider to be actually far more romantic than the actual scenes that they chose to showcase, which was a little bit silly.
Well, and that's what I think. Like, we need to say, do we think that this scene that they chose was actually a romantic scene, or was it sexual tension? Because I are the biggest chemistry, the most
Yes.
chemistry filled scenes. I will give them that. Like some of the, I mean, I think some of there's still filler, but the scenes they
Yes.
chose, there's
There was
quite a
so much filler.
few that I'll say like this is a chemistry scene, not a romance scene.
Yeah, and I got really annoyed that the filler was placed kind of in the mid, but placed above some of the really
And
important parts. But I
it's
think
all
it's because,
season 3 filler too, which
but you know what?
makes me so mad. It's
It's
like
completely it's completely done specifically to keep us engaged from the start to the finish. Like I know that on purpose though, because it creates engagement. So I do understand it's a marketing technique, but it worked because I'm pissed off. All right, let's go through the list.
mm-hmm.
Shall we Should we do one each? So we'll just go 30, 29, and
Sure.
until we get down to number one. Okay, so Colin and Penn's season 1 dance came in at number 30. And we're just going to kind of rattle these off, and then we'll talk about the placement and whatnot at the end.
And this, I think, is true romance. This is a romantic scene because he's playing the hero. She's the damsel in distress. He's the hero. So I think it's romantic.
Rattling off, and then we'll go back. Thought that was what we agreed upon. Or do we want to talk about it in between?
I say let's talk about it in between and just go. Like we each get a sentence. Like we're each going to say one like thing. So I'm saying this is romance.
Yes. I said it was romance. It was chivalry. It showed their bond, but I didn't quite agree with the fact that they kind of downplayed Colin's feelings as just a soft spot.
Oh yeah, no, I think this very much shows that he has feelings because he looks nervous that Penn might be like, I don't have a dance with you. You know, he thought she might turn him down, and he looked like, are you coming with me? Kind of thing. Kind of like the carriage scene where he says, are you coming with me? So I think it's like that. So number 29, filler, is Violet and Marcus. And they say various moments. So this is a filler one. They just want to put in Violet and Marcus because that's a romance from season 3. And I can't name, aside from him following her out when he sees her visibly upset, I can't think of anything super truly romantic between them yet.
He picked up a glove for her.
Like, no. Like, we could have, there's so many scenes they did not choose, which we'll get to at the end, but this was filler. Complete filler.
Yeah. I think his most romantic gesture was not romantic at all, but it was taking her word and rectifying his relationship with his sister, not for her, but that he listened to her advice on the matter. That, hey,
yes,
we can't be a thing. That's romantic to me. Respecting
that is romantic to me. Like he took her input, her thoughts, her opinions on something. He took them and put action to them, which is very romantic.
Yes. Next up, we have Will and Alice make their own rules. Again, this isn't one moment, but a collection of them, which is stupid, as there are so many moments where Alice and Will show romance and affection and thoughtfulness to one another.
Yes. Like we talked in our last podcast episode where Alice allows Will to have his moment of feelings, and she's just, even though she disagrees with him, she's being supportive. Like, that's more romantic to me than them making their own rules in the ton.
Yeah. Like she, and then in our next episode, I talk about how she is thrust into the limelight. She is standing on a podium with the Queen and Lady Danbury, and she is there without a husband, like a widow. Like the other two women in the podium are widows, and she is, well, Queen Charlotte's not a widow, but you know what I mean.
She's stuck. She might as well be. Yeah.
And she's thrust into the limelight, and she's having to now navigate this ton on her own because she's supporting her husband and his needs instead of her own, which to me, romantic. Okay, number 27.
Daphne tends to Simon's wounds. Romantic. It's always romantic to take care of someone in their time of need, whether it be sick, injured. Like, you know, I have said, as a caregiver, I've been a caregiver for my adult son, and caregave for my mother, you caregave for your papa. Like, the number one way of showing true love for someone is to care for them when they cannot care for themselves.
Yes.
And I think this is, I mean, could he have cleaned up his own wound? Sure. But it provides a tenderness and a vulnerability between them that leads him to open up to her.
Yes. And that vulnerability allowed him to finally open up the emotional floodgates and tell Daphne his reason behind not having children, which for him is like the biggest sign of romance, because I think he has spent an entire life of putting up walls with people, and to actually share the vulnerability of saying, my father mistreated me. My father hated me.
Yes.
That is why I cannot.
That is trauma. Yeah.
It is raw. It is so raw. Speaking of raw, but in an entirely different way, whoever thought that water makes a good lubricant? Charlotte and George bath scene.
Okay, and this is one to me not romantic. This is chemistry. This is complete chemistry. This is not romance at all. This is spice.
Yes. Yep. No notes. That's exactly it. Number 25.
Colin's dream. And I already know like what we're saying here. Like this is romantic because there's so much to this, and there's actually I saw a scene where she's wearing a dress that has these appliques on it that are like the leaves of the flowers, but they look like little butterflies. And in the dream, that tree that's behind him in the garden has those little flowers on it that look like almost like little butterfly type of flowers. Like there's an image, a promo image from the dream with this tree back there, and that tree looks very much like that bodice of the dress. And I'm like, he's incorporating her clothing into the dream. He's dreaming about her. He's wishing he could tell her his feelings. His biggest moment is, not that she wants him like sexually, but that she wants him as a man. Like she's been thinking about him too, that she has been feeling the exact same way. And to me, that's romantic. And what we're mad about is that this is number 25.
This is disgustingly number 25. So for me, the most romantic part was that he could have been dreaming, and I mean, he does state at some point that he has been dreaming of other body parts of hers, but specifically in this dream that we see, it is not about the sexual.
That night before.
I know, but this scene is romantic to me because he's not dreaming about their sexual tension or having his way with her necessarily. It's about him about her wanting him. He just so desperately needs that love to be reciprocated from her. And that to me is why this is romantic. Yes. Number 24.
And it's intimate because she is wearing a nightie. Hold on. She is wearing a nightie, a nightgown for that time, and a dressing robe. So it's intimate in that way, and a little bit sexual, but it's still fully clothed. She's fully clothed in the dream.
Yeah. Number 24, and this one kills me. Brimsley and Reynolds dance. And I tell you what, there better be some bloody good scenes below this, because this dance and the subsequent lone dance both filled my heart and crushed it at the same time. Like literally just watching that little snippet on MSMojo, I had tears in my eyes because it breaks my heart for them.
It breaks me every time. And I can't believe this is so low on the list, because this this is, well, if you think about one being the highest, this is low.
Yeah.
So this to me is ultimate romance, and not the dance between the two of them together, although it's very public and they could get caught, which was huge for Reynolds, right? Yes. To engage in something where they could get caught. But the fact that Brimsley is dancing it segues into Brimsley dancing by himself, which tells you he still has feelings, even though Reynolds is no longer there. And that breaks me so much.
I know that Jess Brownell has said that they will not find a conclusion, but they will explore that avenue further in future seasons. But she didn't state whether it is Queen Charlotte or
but she said, how it's going to play Brimsley out. Or Hugh, whatever, who plays Brimsley, says, Jess Brownell says Reynolds is not dead. So Reynolds is alive somewhere.
Yes. But she also said that they will be exploring it in the future, in the Season of Love episode that we watched. She said that they will be exploring that.
And I think it'll be this season because it fits.
Yes, very much so. Okay, moving on. Number 23.
23. And Anthony in the garden. And this garden one is the bee, right? The bee scene?
No.
Oh, no.
The first sex scene.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Because they were in the garden when she was stung by the bee too.
I want you. Don't stop. No, I can't have you. Don't stop.
That, like very different from you have to tell me to stop. I don't want you to stop.
Yes.
The you must stop. Don't stop.
Stop. Don't stop. Stop. Like,
and I
need you, but I can't have you. Yeah.
And I honestly think that's what killed Anthony the most, is the fact that whenever he went to Sienna, he let her take over. Like, she was in control because he had so much pressure on him as the Lord, being in charge of everyone and being responsible for everyone. So he had her take the lead. So when Kate is like, don't stop forcefully, like, he's like, whoa, mama. You know? And again, like, yes, this is, I'll call it like romantic in quotes, because they're both finally admitting their attraction and their feelings for each other in a way. But I also think it's chemistry. This is a chemistry moment.
You know what I actually think should have been in this place?
Kate and Anthony scene?
Yeah, a Kate and Anthony scene, which was actually romance and not lust or sexual tension or desire or passion. Was Anthony telling Kate that he was taking her to India to go see her family, that he was okay with her child being
and to learn about her culture.
Yes. He respected her. He respected her wishes. He respected the fact that even if she would never say it or ask for it, it's what she needed.
Well, and I also, in that vein, if we're going to do various scenes, I also think the moment where he thought she's upset that his mother was still living in the home, and she's like, no, we've both been in charge for so long. Let's enjoy this time. Let's leave again. Let's go on a second honeymoon. And he gives up his duty to make his wife happy, because he's been all about duty. I think that's very romantic for him too. Like, he's choosing to delegate to his family for his wife's happiness. So yes, I agree. There could
Ms. Mojo's definitely confused passion and romance, because honestly,
this
for
is
me,
passion, but not romance.
India was romance. Yeah. Okay. Number 22. 22. Double digits.
We're only folks. 8 up from the bottom, guys. 8
double
up from
digits.
The bottom. Yes.
Mirror scene. Are you kidding me? And to me,
well, it's obvious who their favorite couple is. It's not Pollen.
Yes. And it's funny to me because, again, mirror scene for me is romantic. It is. But for me, it's the most romantic
first time scene of any season of Bridgerton. Yes.
But for me, the most romantic scene was Colin defending.
Right before it.
Yeah, Colin defending his wife. But because it wasn't a sex scene, of course it wasn't included, because apparently we don't know how to distinguish between passion and
But they included it.
Romance.
They included it as a this is what led up to this.
Yeah.
I think what makes this so romantic is the fact also that in every other first encounter that we see, the man kind of takes control, and Colin wants to, but Penn says no. She wants to be an equal partner. She wants to learn and do. And he goes along with that, and he wants it to be a good experience for her. So he's letting her, like, teaching her and and kind of taking some of the control in that situation. And that's very romantic. But
for me,
the romance of it is you will not talk about my wife like that. I don't care if you are her mama.
Like, if we were actually talking about this scene, I do think that the mirror scene is romantic, because he wanted to build up her confidence. He wanted her to see her the way that he sees her, as an absolute goddess, and he wanted to build her up. He didn't want to go into it with her feeling insecure in any way. He wanted her to feel like a goddess.
I don't know if I should save this for when we talk about that scene, because we haven't talked about that scene on the podcast yet. But it just made me think of, like, he never knew how she was treated by her family until he walked in right then. And we've always said, because he's loved her since the dawn of time, like since the beginning, he's always felt like she was too good for him. He had her on a pedestal. And here's this moment where he now sees how she's been talked to and how she's been treated and what that must mean for her, because he's a little empathic, sensitive Colin. And he, prior to, like, a moment where he's wanting to culminate their love and he knows he's got to make her vulnerable, he realizes he's got to let her know what he's seen all along. Right? This isn't something that just happened. He's telling her how he's seen her all along. And if you think of everything he says, those are the reasons why he felt like she was out of his league.
Yeah. All right, because we don't want to go too long, because I know that my mum's going to turn up with my son from kindy any minute. Okay, Kate, wait, no, it's yours. 21.
Yeah, Kate and Anthony kiss in the church. And here's what I'm going to say. Chemistry, do you know what should have been here? Colin and Penn dance in the church. That's what should have been in there.
Yes.
That's what should have been there, Miss Mojo.
Seal of approval. Except it should have been way lower as well. Higher, lower,
it should
whatever.
Be closer to 1.
Closer to 1. Yeah.
Just saying. That's
top
romance.
10. Top 10. Loved it. Kate and Anthony kissing the church. As much as the moment was rife with tension, we all were waiting for that moment. We were waiting for that kiss moment. I actually felt not super okay about it. It just felt a little bit it felt like rubbing salt into the wound of Edwina, and I did not think it was appropriate for him to be kissing her in the exact spot that he should have been marrying her sister, but that
her wanting to suspend time and not leave the church felt like, I want to stay with you, but it also was, when I walk out there, I have to admit my failure. And so this was a down moment for the both of them. So it's more a moment of desperation than it is romance.
Yes. Yeah. So for me, not romantic.
No, dancing in the church is way more romantic. Okay, moving on.
Penn and Colin.
Various.
Just Penn and Colin.
Season 1 and season 2 scenes they're talking about. But we seriously could pick. We could pick
so many scenes. Why would you just?
Yeah. Why would you just one? Like Colin's homecoming. That's romantic. They're seeing each other for the first time after writing letters to each other, right? That's romantic. Him saving her from Jack because he doesn't know who knows. Like he thinks Jack is screwing over the family. Him exposing Jack's fraud, very romantic.
Yes, extremely. Okay, we're gonna have I can hear a little sausage in my driveway. Okay. Number 19. Simon educates Daphne.
I'm odds.
Oh, sorry.
Simon educates Daphne. This one I agree with. It's romantic because he is giving her the education that he knows her mother's not. Yes. But it also is sexual tension.
Yeah.
But it's showing him as a man wanting her to have a full experience as a woman.
Yes.
Which I think is romantic.
Okay, number 18. Anthony returns to Sienna. Passion, pure passion, lack of romance. Pass. Hard pass. No. 17.
There's so much more that could go in there. 17. Kate and Anthony dance. Episode 8 of their season. Thumbs up. And I agree. And for me, what it is it's not the dance, it's the whole conversation before that.
Yes. Yep.
It's the people, we can do this. Who cares what people think? Kind of conversation.
I love the maybe the ton will take pity on me. I've just had a head injury and I'm out on the dance floor. Like, I'm not to be blamed for my actions.
Like,
I have a head
how
injury.
How many fingers am I holding up? Nope, you're wrong. It's 4. Like,
one more. Yeah, for me, definitely thumbs up. I definitely thought that one was romantic, and it symbolized that they were willing to basically break the rules of the ton to be together because they were done fighting, being separated. Okay, number 16, the beginning of Simon and Daphne, them dancing for the first time with the pyro works and the music in the background, which I think solidified many, but that is crazy to me. They have it as number 16. This is my number 1.
Yeah.
Not necessarily for
like
romance,
Simon and Daphne
but just everything.
Simon and Daphne are their favorite couple. You can tell by the placements that they have.
Yes.
But I do think that they got some of the scenes backwards.
Yes.
Like, I'd kind of like to know their scale. Like, what is your scale? How did you decide?
Because we've already had a lot of Penn and Colin moments, and we're not even halfway into it. Now, out of the total, Penn and Colin only get 6 out of the 30. So a fifth. They get a fifth when they are essentially a third of the biggest fandom, if not more. and we've already had most of their moments, and we're only up to number 16, which is kind of wild to me. Whereas the next portion is, I would say, 2/3 of the next scenes are Diamond, Simon and Daphne scenes.
Diamond, yeah, people, that's their couple name, Diamond.
Yes. Well, that's what I named the, Diamond moments.
Yeah. But yeah,
to me, yes, that's romantic. And I already shared my reasons for why it's romantic at the start, so I won't.
No, and I agree. I think the ball itself was very magical. It's like one of the first, it's the first time we see a real Bridgerton ball that is, because like even Danbury's ball where Marina shows up, like the first ball of the season, it looks like any other Regency, like think of Pride and Prejudice and stuff. Yeah. It looks like everything else. This was the first one that was like, oh, this is how Bridgerton's going to tell a story. Like, this is fantastic.
Is this one thrown at the Queen's estate, though?
No, it's at that Vauxhall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I wonder who threw it.
I don't think they say.
It just feels like the kind of money that only a queen would have, to be honest.
Okay. 15. Fran and John quiet moments. Filler. I think they just wanted to include Francesca. There are romantic moments between these two, like him making the grand gesture. New music.
Come on.
Like
grand gesture.
Yeah, his grand gesture of I listen to you, I see you, I can absolutely understand how we need to communicate now. Like that whole recomposing the music, having someone recompose the music for her is huge, hugely romantic. And if you want to go like bold romantic, the entering the home when he doesn't even know the name of the woman he's going after, he doesn't even ask to see the lord of the home, which is Regency etiquette. He just barrels in, and I mean, he's completely suave and smooth about it, but that is very romantic. Like, I must see my girl.
Or you want to talk romance? How about him giving a speech at their wedding breakfast, basically showing that he sees everyone in her family and how each of them and how each of them have touched her in a different way. Mm-hmm. And how that has made her the person that he loves. I see this part of you. I see this part of you. I see your influence here. That together you have made the person whom I love whole.
Or even like when she's playing the pianoforte with her mother and they're both kind of tripping over the notes and everybody's kind of chuckling and laughing, but he's just looking at her like, look at my little wife. She's amazing. Like he's just loves her to death. Like that's super romantic.
Yeah, that like that. And that's my problem with this MSMojo list. And when you said that they're big Bridgerton fans, I was surprised because some of these just seem like such.
But I think they're Simon and Daphne fans. Like, yeah. And when it's kind of like what we went through when the pollen season started, and the Simon and Daphne fans and the Canthony fans like tried to fight with the pollen fans. It's like ridiculous. But I also think if we're going to talk romantic, how hard must it be to ask your girlfriend, I mean, your fiance's brothers for help with your future mother-in-law. Like that's hugely romantic to me. He is seeking advice from the brothers.
A lone wolf who is seeking advice at that.
Yeah.
Okay. Number 14. Say my name when no one is around you. Say, baby, I love you.
Call me by my name.
Number 14. Call me by my name. Simon and Daphne.
And this moment was more chemistry.
It's an okay moment. Like it's not anything special to me.
But this is the moment where it's the dance where she's saying that she needs to take control of her life. And this is his way of giving that to her. Like, okay, if we're doing this, if we're going to be on this level, we're gonna use our names, like we're gonna call each other by our names. And so I
Yeah.
think I see that as an answer, his answer to her
Okay.
wanting to be in control. So I can see
Let
romance,
me
but I think it's more of a chemistry moment.
okay, let me phrase this as this is placed 8 below the mirror scene
Right,
to put that
right.
into perspective.
Yes.
Crazy.
This could have been
Crazy.
anywhere between 30 and
25
21, I
and
think.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
It is a filler.
Like if you swap this for the mirror scene, I'd be
Yeah.
happier.
Yeah. Okay, 13.
13, the bee sting scene. And yes, this shows us how much Antony loves her because he is so afraid she's going to die from the bee sting. So I say romance. And how she handles him,
Yes.
calming him down,
Yes.
that shows how much she knows
It
him and like
it
she knows.
it
Yeah,
showed connection.
very
Yeah.
much romance
Yeah. I mean,
and connection. Like,
it was yeah, a very touching moment, and I think it gave us a lot of Antony's backstory and fear. But the part anyone who has read their book knows exactly why he freaked out on the level that he did. He thought he was bound to die at a young age, and now he's like, wait, what if it's not me who's going to die? Maybe it was going to be her. Like
yeah.
he was just filled with so
Well,
much
and
PTSD.
in the book though, like in the scene from the book, he actually tries to suck the venom out of the
Yes.
sting, and that's what leads to them having to marry.
Be married.
So
Yes.
we don't get that in the show, but Johnny Bailey plays that like you can see him thinking like,
Yeah.
do I suck the venom out? She doesn't, like he's
Yeah.
panicking. He did such a good job there.
Yeah. That scene was phenomenally acted. Okay, number 12, and I would actually put this one lower because it does give off, and I mean, they actually, Miss Mojo said, and I probably agree with them on a lot of this, is that Daphne and Simon mimic a lot of Pride and Prejudice. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and this stolen touch where they are kind of looking at his mother's painting and they kind of touch hands. And I truly think that it does not always have to be the big romantic stolen kisses, the frolicking and the sienna banging up against a tree. We don't
Mm-mm.
necessarily need all
Well,
that.
and I honestly
Um,
think this one could have been written as a stolen touch for all 3 seasons, because
yes.
we have this moment in season 2. We have Kate and Antony in that um, art museum with the sculptures and everything. They come very close to touching each
Yeah.
other. They want to touch each other. And then
Yes.
I would equate that. I mean, Colin and Penn grab hands a lot. They're very like holdy handy. But at the wedding, when they're both standing in front of the crowd and she reaches out for his hand, because normally he holds his hand out for her, but she reaches out for his hand and kind of fumbles, but he grasps her hand finally and holds it tightly. Like those are, and I know that's not a stolen touch, but it's all the same connection. And because the person who's kind of struggling in the moment is seeking connection with the other person as well. And I think those could have all been, if they're going to lump in various moments, they could have done various moments that way as well.
Yeah. Yeah. But for me, definitely this was an incredibly romantic moment
Yeah.
because it very much reminded me of the fact that in Pride and Prejudice you get through this whole entire story and to the very last moment they don't actually, well, I mean, with the exception of him helping her into the carriage, they don't touch, they don't kiss.
I think this scene is the helping her into the carriage and his hand
Yes.
flex after, like,
Yes. Yeah.
like, yes, romance.
Yes. Okay. Number 11. Bum, bum, bum.
Cracking the case, Theo and Eloise. Again, I think
Oh.
this is filler.
They had a romantic moment and it wasn't this.
No, it wasn't this. The romantic moment was actually where she said, like, do you think about me? And he brings out the books. Like, I actually read these and I wanted you to read them and I wanted your thoughts. Like, that's romantic. I love that your brain.
Love that you and I both knew the exact moment that was the romantic moment.
And because Eloise wants to be loved for her intelligence, she doesn't want to be a debutante. And he recognizes that. And he's like, I think you're smart. I like that you're smart.
You know what I want for her season? I want her to go into Sir Philip Crane's library and realize it's just the right level of disheveled, that she knows it is well used and enjoyed.
It's not a collection. Yes.
No, it's not a collection. Like, it has all the books. She needs all the books that they
I want her to see, like, here's a book on the table. There's a flower in it or something he's using for a bookmark. There's a book on the shelf that's pulled out. You can tell he read something out of it. There's a book open on somewhere else. And he's like, oh, I've got to look this up.
He's got a wee stack of botanics over here.
Yeah, like he has several books he's reading. He's not just reading one, because Eloise gives me that vibe of she doesn't just read one book at a time.
Yes. Okay, perfect. We are of one mind. Number 10. I'm so mad. So mad. Kiss Me. This would probably be my number 2. If like really, really, the only reason I think I didn't put it as number 1 is because it's kind of expected. And so I was like, I want to go for something different. But otherwise, Kiss Me, the tenderness, the gentleness, the romanticism of it, the moment that you realize just how deeply it affected Colin, the lingering foreheads together.
Well, and this, for me, the reason this trumps the kiss in the church, and why the kiss in the church is a moment of desperation for the both of them. They are both at their lowest and they're connecting. They're I know.
Pen and Colin.
I know. What do I have to lose? But this kiss, even though Penelope thinks she's at her lowest and she thinks she's desperate, she's not. And we learn here that when Pen asks, Colin answers. And that is how it is from this moment on. When she nods her head, he follows. When
look at number 9, though. How?
I know.
How?
Like, yeah. But that's what I'm saying. Like, this kiss me moment, much like the first kiss in the church, because I think they went with first kisses and stuff. The kiss in the church needs to go. That's desperation. This is, she thinks she's having desperation, but she's not. It's straight up so romantic because she asks and he answers.
It's so hot. Number 9,
the hunting trip, Kate and Anthony. This is not romantic at all. This is straight up sexual tension.
And might I add, a lot of sexism.
Right? Like, he's all about her showing skin, like showing her thigh, like, so. No.
Like, how are you going to put that?
Dog.
How are you going to put that
up? 10. How is that in the top 10?
Like, to rate that better than Pen and Colin's first kiss is just.
And we don't even have Colin's season 8 romantic confession on this list at all. How are you going to put hunting outing and you're not going to put Pen and Colin's romantic confession at the end?
Yeah.
Where they both say, I see you for who you are and I love you for who you are.
Yeah.
Boo.
Yeah. Okay. Number 8. Simon and Daphne's first kiss. Pure passion. Zero romance.
Now, the romance part, if we want to talk romance, the romance is they're having the argument and she goes in the garden and he follows her. But not one bit of this is romance, this kiss. This is straight up passion.
Yep. Number 7.
The chase through the rain, Kate and Anthony on horseback. And I'm saying not the chase. I'm saying him picking her up and carrying her back in the house and carrying her up the steps and yelling for them to get a doctor. All of that rescue part is the romance part. The chasing after her in the rain, not so much.
I think all of it was actually quite romantic.
Oh, him going after her when he hears she's out on a strange horse in the rain.
Yeah.
And he knows to go after her because he knows how she
wants
rides.
To protect her. Yeah.
And he's assuming she's upset, which she is. She's flustered, but not in the way he thinks. Like, he probably thinks she's not coming for him, right? So he's got his own thoughts there, and he knew that she was upset and to go after her, where everyone else is like, oh, this is just what Kate does. You know what I mean? Like, yes, romantic. Okay. But not so much the chase. Like, him tearing after her, yes, and him carrying her in the house, absolutely.
I would say number 7 was a fitting place for that.
For that, yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Number 6, the royal audience, Simon and Daphne, where Simon essentially confesses his feelings to the queen. I say pure romance, because Daphne's coming at it with, I'm going to say what I need to say to get what I want. Simon comes at it with raw vulnerability, and he is so convincing that Daphne's like, bro, you're a really good actor, not realizing it was
true.
Complete truth. Romance.
And like, the best part is not even when you find your best friend, like, in a beautiful woman. The best part is when, we thought we were fooling everyone else, but in all reality, we just enjoyed each other's company. And like, he admits they were fooling themselves.
Yes.
And I love that.
And that he was saying that their relationship was completely rooted in friendship. That was the romantic part.
Yeah.
It wasn't just the sexual tension. It was the friendship. The fact that he struggles to talk to anyone, very similar to Francesca and John, but they found comfort in each other and a way to be open with each other because talking with her was so easy. Romantic. Number 5.
Yes.
Ooh, glad it's
number 5. The king remembers. Yes, romantic. And the way they played it, it kills me. It's just like at the end of The Notebook. Like, when she remembers, and then
that makes me sob.
Yeah.
Do you think we can go together?
Yeah. Like, the fact, and I love the fact how just like they said, how they played it out, where you see him old and he sees her when he remembers and she's young.
Yes.
And then she realizes he remembers, and then she looks at him and she sees him young, and it's like,
and they're under the bed together. And then you didn't go over the wall.
You didn't go over the wall. You cry right
and
now.
that was basically this huge symbolism of, you stayed with me. Like, you still fighting
because he wanted to be chosen as a man, not the king.
But like, that she's still fighting to see, like, for the moments with him.
Don't
just
you
gonna
dare.
I'm just gonna close one eye at a time. This is why I have not rewatched this more than I needed to, because it hurts too much.
This is straight up romance, and this is probably one of Shonda Rhimes' best scenes ever.
Wow, it's so mean.
It was beautifully done. And honestly, if you I would almost, the kiss in the rain, I do think that's tops. But I think this would go before I Burn for You.
Yes.
Like, this is high. This should be in the top. It is in the top five, but I would switch I Burn for You for The King Remembers.
I would
switch it for The Bane of My Existence, because that's not romance.
Yes.
That's straight up connection. Like,
I would basically
2 and 5.
Yeah. No. 4, 5, and 4. Just shove them down, but I won't say what they are yet because we're not there yet. Okay.
Yeah. Well, 5 is King Remembers. So yeah, that one needs to be higher. Like, well,
okay, number 4, the carriage scene. Colin got some boobies.
And that's why that night he dreamt about them and he brought that up the next day.
Yeah.
Because he finally knew the shall we say, square footage.
For me, it's a mixture. It is romantic, but his confession is the romantic part.
Yes. The romantic part is her saying, he thinks you have feelings for me, which I think is preposterous. I just have to laugh. And you can see how hard it is for him to say this without knowing her feelings. But when he finally says, what if I did have feelings for you? That's the romantic part for me. That he finally does the thing Colin cannot do, which is put himself first and ask for what he wants. And then he ends up giving Penn what she wants, and he doesn't even realize that's what he's doing in the moment until she says what, and then he knows. Like, or well, he thinks he knows because she throws him off there for a second. But like this whole part, them getting on the same page, very romantic. Everything after that is complete and utter chemistry.
Yeah. Okay. Number 3.
Oh, except for the ask and answer with the head nod, like the look and the head nod. That's romantic too.
Actually, sorry. Yeah. And romance is asking consent.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Ask and answer. Like he's gotta know Penn is wanting something before he will do. Yes.
Okay. Number 3.
Which, hold on, I gotta put in my, okay. I burn for you, Simon and Daphne. And while this is wedding night, this is straight up chemistry for me.
Chemistry. No romance.
But I do I think the romantic part of this scene is where she says, it is you I cannot sacrifice.
Yes.
That is the true romance of the scene.
Yeah.
But no matter what, she chooses him.
I just rewatched the scene last night, and I don't know that I necessarily like how they played out it as a first time, like that Simon was asking her to touch herself in front of him, something like very raw and vulnerable. Like the first time should be about their connection and him guiding her through things. So I didn't super love that portion of it. As a first time, it should not have been included.
Oh, for the
first time.
Well, and I think it was included because he had asked her to do it before and he wanted to know if she did, and
but then he could have been like, and now it's my turn to show you how it's done. Not
like we get the I'll be your blanket kind of thing, kind of idea, but no, like
didn't love that.
It's no mirror scene for a first time. That's all I'm saying.
No. Okay. Number 2, you are the bane of my existence and the object of my desire. Kate and Anthony.
No, that's complete sexual tension. That is spice, not romance. Because how's it? Look at Pride and Prejudice, his first proposal. She's like, how do you expect me to marry you when you said you want to marry me against your will? Like, Kate should have been like, how dare you? You said I'm the bane of your existence. Like, no, I don't care that I'm the object of all your desires. I am the bane of your existence. Like, ew, not romantic.
I kind of love their relationship in the way that it is not, would never be my vibe, but like, I dig the kind of, that she's got a bit more bite to her than a and
I could see
unseasoned girl.
I could see Kate finding that romantic because at the end she goes, every day you will vex me, right? Like that's just their vibe. But to me,
and it's
not
in that
romantic.
accent. It just hits so much better with her accent.
Number 1,
take it away.
The Hastings Ball kiss in the rain. Simon and Daphne.
Seal of approval, thumbs up, romantic.
And I say this, I don't say it's the actual kiss. I say it's her speech
the confession.
Confession, like, I love you for everything. I love you for all your flaws. Like, no matter what you've been told, everyone deserves love. Everybody deserves love. I think that her confession and the fact that she confesses Like, I know it's Bridgerton and it should be the Bridgerton that confesses in the end. So the fact that she's telling him, you know, no matter how unworthy anyone made you feel, I choose you. I love you for everything. And Matt, to me, was the romantic part. Not so much a kiss in the rain, although kiss in the rain is like ultimate romance. But I think
Yeah.
the speech up until that was the
Oh, and
romantic part.
it was the rain and it was the song. That song has made its way onto my forever liked playlist as each, you know how, like Francesca, there are some songs in life that make you feel things so deeply and
Mm-hmm.
viscerally that they just, oh, that they just
And
have a
I love
hold on
that
you.
they enter that dance floor like this is going to be the last time we dance, the last time we connect forever because
And
we're
neither of them
ending
actually
this.
want it.
Well, no, they don't, and they slow down. Like they are trying to stop time because they believe this is
Yeah.
the last time. And the, you know, the rain interrupts it, and it like exactly what Miss Mojo said for that. Like the way it was filmed, you just know that neither one of them want to end the connection, and
Well,
she finally just she thinks the rain is perfect because it's
well,
imperfect.
well, it reminded me very much of a Cinderella story with Hilary Duff when she said, "Waiting for you is like waiting for the rain in a drought."
Yeah.
Something and
And I just want to say, if we're going to
something
talk
and
about,
disappointing.
yeah, if we're going to talk about what was missing on this list, how about
So
the
much.
Finches?
Yeah.
The Finches, we're going to join them in the rain, one, because they are that kind of couple.
Yeah.
They are only about themselves, like they are in their own little romance, but they have so many romantic moments. How about
Mm-hmm.
one, Mr. Finch waiting almost 2 years to marry the love
Mm-hmm.
of his life, and then two, waiting almost 2 years to have a sexual connection with his wife.
Yes.
So we just wanted to give our two
Um,
cents, Miss Mojo. Yep. Thank you for listening to the musings of two mad women who had to comment on Miss Mojo's list.
yes, and if you are enjoying our YouTube content, please remember to click subscribe so that you get notifications when we upload new episodes. Yours truly, Tash the Kiwi.
And Lady Patty.